Welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we dissect the Railway Series. I'm Jamie.
I'm Marina.
I'm Vivian.
And we hope you enjoy the show.
So, I like Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know if I've told you guys this. Have I told you? Did you know? Jamie, did you know that?
No, I never knew this about you.
No? I mean, I'm very good at hiding that kind of thing, you know. Here's a fun fact for everybody. A new Sonic the Hedgehog video game came out this week.
Is it good? Has Sonic the Hedgehog ever been good, ever?
No. Haven't you ever watched Game Grumps?
No, I have good taste.
You know what? I respect that. So, Sonic Frontiers came out. Sonic Frontiers. Sonic has ears, I think. It's very good. It makes me very happy. The writing's very good. Ian Flynn, he's a good boy. Pat. They reference Sonic Unleashed. Fuck yeah. That's the autism game. Makes me happy.
Nice.
They mentioned Tangle the Bangle.
Is Werewolf Sonic?
No, they don't mention.
Is Werewolf Sonic?
They don't mention.
Is Werewolf Sonic and or Tangle the Lemur an autism creature?
I think Tangle the Lemur is definitely an autism creature.
Based.
I mean, have you seen her? Have you seen what she does?
Yes, I'm lying. I've been lying this entire time about not knowing shit about Sonic just so I can let you info.
No, I was making a joke about.
It's okay.
I was
God.
making a joke.
I'm being bad at words right now.
I was making a joke about how insanely obvious it is. The Tangle is very clearly fucking autistic.
You know what? True. She does look extremely autistic. I love her.
Yeah. Fucking. I was trying to say Dr. Eggman. I almost said Egoraptor. Dr. Egoraptor is in the game.
God, imagine if they made Egoraptor the villain. That would be really funny.
He's already the villain of Sonic.
He is.
I know. What if they just made it in the game? I want that. Like, fucking
No.
the Eggmobile rolls up. Instead of Eggman inside, it's fucking Egoraptor.
It's Egoraptor talking about how much he really wants to say the N-word.
Yeah.
You know, Sonic was never really good. And in addition to that, racial slurs.
I am going to list every slur in alphabetical order.
And why it is politically okay for me to say them, and if you don't think so, then you're the problem. It's like that one fucking comment I got on my, grid video that was like, I think you're the one being, I think you, thinking she's trans is being reductive and, stereotypical and bigoted, and it's like, I didn't even say anyone was in the video, what the fuck?
Sometimes people are stupid.
I think about the fucking Wilbert Audrey would be disgusted by your pronouns comment we got on,
God.
fucking Tank Engine Thomas again sometimes.
Yeah, God.
But anyway...
Oh, speaking of which, hey, welcome to the Railway Series Book Club, the podcast where we talk about the funny train books. My name is Jamie, the Queen of Sodor. Pronouns are she, her.
I'm Marina, your local TV series bitch. Pronouns she, her.
I'm Vivian. I'm very autistic about Sonic the Hedgehog. Pronouns she, they.
And today we are talking about Saved from Scrap, a story.
Yeah.
That's one way to describe it.
Yeah.
That sums it up. That kind of sums up this story's legacy perfectly, in a way.
Yeah, it sure is a story. I think I grew up with this story on, I think it was my DVD of, God, I can't remember if it's Help Out or Get Along, which one it was. It's of such interchangeable titles, but it's the one DVD that has... It's the one with Thomas and Birdie on the cover. And it also had Break Van and Birdie. I think it actually had all the Edward stories No, it didn't have cows or old iron. Never mind. But it did have, like, Percy's Promise and Break Fan and Thomas in Trouble.
I-
It also had the
all
Thanksgiving
of the, all
episode.
of the
That does help
videos
out,
and stuff over here had different covers, so I couldn't help.
Yeah, none of this is applicable to UV. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're just gonna fucking eject me from the conversation like this. Wow.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
it was help out.
Yeah,
I looked it up.
yeah. I like that DVD. It came with a. I think it came with a. My copy came with a wooden D261, which I loved and
Holy
then
shit,
lost
Lucky.
really early on.
I never got.
I'm
any
really
of
mad I
those,
lost
like,
that D261, honestly, because D261 is really cool. Like, that's,
I really
you know-
wish I got some of those cool like wooden railway packs, but I thought they were really neat.
I'm pretty sure that's where, like, 95% of my wooden railway collection came from. Like, really early on, I had, like, a Stepney, a Northwestern brake van, and, like, a bunch of other, like, weird stuff. I'm pretty sure that's where it came from, mostly.
Speaking of weird merchandise, Urzel Truck.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the
and the
Erdl shit
coaches.
happened.
Does the guy on that's posting them on Twitter, does he own Mike, or does he just have?
I
the
don't
coaches?
know.
No, apparently Mike went to someone else.
That's a shame.
Wonder how much
Yeah.
that sold for.
Probably way too much.
It's interesting that because we've known that Mike was being worked on for like over a decade now, right?
Yeah, but we did not know about the rolling stock.
Yeah. Jock was also in that lot, right?
Yeah, the prototype Jock was in
Yeah.
there somewhere.
I wonder if like he kind of just barely got out.
It seems like Jock was like it seems like Jock made it out into like release like maybe a few months before the line ended, which does kind of track with what we already knew.
Yeah.
I wonder what else they would have done in 2005. Like, do you think there's a prototype like Erdl Neville or something somewhere?
I mean, yeah, honestly, 2005 is when they started doing the original characters in the hit model era. If it gone on just a bit longer, they probably would have made some of them.
Yeah, like
How
I
would
feel
they
like
have done
would
Mighty
at
Mac
least-
with like those couplings?
They probably would have done it like they'd done all the old engines, where it just has the two I ends and no hooks, because Erdl is a bad range with bad couplings.
I like Erdl, don't be mean.
Erdl has some strong points, but it does not hold up compared to more standardized ranges that came in its
I
wake.
feel like the best way to do the Erdl couplings was actually Adventures.
Yeah, Adventures did it the
Adventures,
best.
Yeah.
the couplings on Adventures was the only thing I fucking like about that range.
Yeah, it's the only thing. I mean, I like it more than the Fat Magnet take-alongs. I'll say that much.
Adventures is fun to look back on because there was so much weird shit in that range, and like
Yeah,
They
there
made
was
a
so much
Stanley from
weird
Space
shit.
Toy.
I have.
Yeah,
that, I think.
well, that was also in Take and Play.
Yeah, but like I mean stuff like the fucking like pirate plane Percy and
Yeah.
like Thomas and the Robot
Henrietta.
Factory.
They made Henrietta and Trevor. They released a Wooden Railway Trevor in the same year in Wooden Railway. That was the last Wooden Railway year, too.
Yeah, because
And that led into Wood.
that was season 20, and they kind of started promoting
Yeah,
Trevor
at the
a lot
very
around
end-
that time.
Yeah, the very end of season 20, they had Trevor in that one episode. Speaking of which, Save from Scrap!
Segue!
I'm very good at segues. Save from Scrap features Trevor, the Traction Engine, and apparently the story is based on... Apparently the victor of Magdalen in East Anglia saved a traction engine in the same kind of way as this story, although Audrey's friend, Reverend Teddy Boston, aka the flat
clergyman, the flat one.
Andrew, please cut that flub out. AKA the fat clergyman, aka that one guy in Tit for Tat, would also acquire a traction engine of his own, but I'm not sure if that like postdates this publication or not. I'm not
I think
sure.
Satan was a steamroller.
That is true. Satan was a
Excuse
steamroller.
Mary, did you not know that fucking Teddy Boston had a steamroller named Satan?
No!
No, just imagining Teddy Boston going to his wife. I'll see you later, love. I'm just gonna go take Satan for a ride.
Please say it was painted red.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Do we have pictures of Satan? Is Satan still around?
I don't know. We'll have to do some Googling.
Alternatively,
Andrew, if you're editing this episode, throw some images up on the screen so we can see Satan in the modern day.
It's Satan. There he is.
Yep. It's me. Hey, Shadow.
Shadow, it's me, the devil. I'm here to convince you to do sin.
I forgot. I never ended up doing the stream because fucking life has been chaos. But I did a poll where I was like, oh, what should I stream? And I had put Shadow the Hedgehog on there, and it won. And I was like, fuck, I forgot the dub came out like a week ago. Of course it won.
Damn.
Right, do we want to read the book?
Yeah, let's read the book.
Okay.
Oh boy, scrap.
Okay.
It's the first book to talk about death. I love this.
Yeah,
Am I good to go?
100 out of 10. This isn't a show for children, Mom. It's not a phase.
Saved from scrap. There is a scrapyard near Edgewood Station. It is full of rusty old cars and machinery. They are brought there to be broken up. The pieces are loaded into trucks, and Edward pours them to the steelworks where they are melted down and used again. One day, Edward saw a traction engine in the yard. "Hello," he said. "You're not broken and rusty. What are you doing there?" "I'm Trevor," said the traction engine sadly. "They're gonna break me up next week."
You didn't
Poor guy.
give Trevor his fucking, cowboy voice.
Yeah, the cowboy voice.
What, do you think I can do a
I'll
cowboy
tell
voice?
Farmer
Okay, hang on.
McCall.
Let's give this a go.
Yeah.
"I'm Trevor. They're gonna break me up next week, partner. Holy fuck."
Yeah.
Do you want me to do that for the rest of the book? Because I can.
Would have made Trevor a way more interesting character. 1,000 out of 10.
Yeah. So this is actually something I think the TV series does better, because it has an actual cold open talking about basically repurposing a deleted shot from the twin engines,
Yeah.
talking about how the engines like to work hard, and then it has that scene where Edward tells Thomas that he's going to the scrapyard today. And Thomas makes that snarky comment like, "What? Already? You're not that old." I like that scene. I feel like it could theoretically be expanded upon in an expanded adaptation to address, the concept of scrap in the Thomas universe.
Do you think
but,
that was
I
put
like
in...
it as a...
Do you think that was put in partially as a lead into Thomas and Trevor?
Possibly.
I'm not sure about that. I think it was, I'm not quite sure why they put it in, other than, filling time or providing, a better opening to the story than just opening on the scrapyard, like in this story. I think it's a cute moment for Thomas and Edward, because, working on the Railway series canon, though they are the two engines, they're the two original engines of the railway. They built that railway together. And so I think this was a really good demonstration of, what good friends they are, even if Thomas is being a bit of a cheek here. Since, by this point, Edward's siblings and, all the engines from his time period are long since scrapped. But, I can buy its friendly banter, though, because they're good buddies.
And if you want to learn more about the early days of Thomas getting to Sodor, go and read Mean Scarlet Deceivers, A Hole in the Net, available now on AO3. Please.
It's interesting how Thomas and Edward is a pairing of characters where, you always kind of assume they're close, but in the books, they don't actually interact much.
That's very much
they
like
don't.
kind of... I think that's very much like... You kind of need to, intuit a lot of dynamics in the books because of just the way they're set up.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, it's... it doesn't help that they're both kind of put away on different stretches of line, so they don't, we don't actually get to see a lot of their day-to-day interactions, or get a good handle on how many times they get to interact.
Yeah.
But, back when they were the two engines on the railway, I'd imagine this kind of rapport would have been built up over time, so
Yeah.
I really like that this kind of scene is here.
Yeah, I like it a lot, too.
In the TV
It's the
version.
focus of the only good Turtles Erdles episode.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? That's not...
The Cloud Factory.
Yeah, Cloud Factory is Chronicopter.
I need to redo the Chronicopter. I was in the process because like I had like printed out decals, so like I was planning on like printing out decals, and fixing up the face of it because it had gotten bent. And then I went to go print it, and my printer is fucking out of ink, and I still haven't replaced it. So I need to.
The princess said, "No,
fix...
you don't get to be stupid."
I need to fucking fix the Chronicopter. I brought that thing to fucking the Greenberg show in Edison when I went in like November, and there was a single guy there who realized what it was and the joke and thought it was the fucking funniest shit.
It's Gay Harold, right?
Yeah, it's specifically Gay Harold.
Gay Harold is the only good thing Mattel's done for the past, like, 6 years.
Yeah. I feel like if you were to expand on this scene, you could also have, like, you know, a younger engine like Percy asking about, like, you know, Edward visiting the scrapyard, and, like, Edward saying, like, it's fine, you know, if, like... God. We've been dancing around the scrapyard this entire time. I want to go balls deep into it. I think it's important to consider that in the context of Thomas the Tank Engine, and Friends, and Railway Series, all engines go. Well, not all engines go. That's not part of the moral fabric of the world.
Series, Thomas.
Yeah.
All engines go is very much going for
the
a different thing
trains.
than before.
Yeah. Go. This does not apply to Go. I should have included that in part of my joke. The trains are very much trains. You know, they. You know, we can talk and hear how they're feeling, but at the end of the day, they are trains. So scrap is, you know, existentially horrifying to think about, but when you think about it from their perspective, it's just part of the life cycle, you know? At some point, a locomotive is worn out and life expired, and they just kind of have to be, you know, cut up and be put back into the, you know... It's the circle of life, you know. Their metal goes back into the molten, like, slag and is recast into new life and that kind of thing. I'm trying to make it sound flowery, but I'm probably floundering it.
So I'm gonna steal a line from Hayden real quick from Crossline's Puppet Master, where after the fucking Class 13 crashes, Wurzel says, like, from iron you came, to iron you return, and like.
Yeah. It is just that, yeah. You know, and, like, I also want to draw a comparison to, just because we keep threatening to make this podcast, Mega Man. Like, you know, the one of the last Archie comics, when, like, Mega Man and, you know, Guts Man
is this the fucking...
Concrete Man, like, they're putting away all the, like, you know, wily robot masters into the robot museum, and Guts Man and Concrete Man are talking about what they want to do when they're decommissioned. You know, Guts Man's like, I want to go on display in the museum, they gotta see this stuff! And Concrete Man's just like, nah, I don't want to take up space, I'll just be melted down, whatever. And Rock is like, you know, what the heck, guys? How can you talk so casually about being dead? And Concrete Man's just like, we're tools, kid. Tools break. You know, as you know, you've still got a purpose living with Dr. Light, but us, you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, ironically, Concrete Man would go on to be a boss in Mega Man 9, where he seems to have changed his mind, but, you know...
I guarantee that they were planning on expanding on that, if they'd gotten to go.
Oh, absolutely! They were
3.
planning on expanding fucking everything in that comic. I'm so mad that it hasn't come back yet. Ian Flynn, please, answer our prayers. Actually, I should probably be praying to Archie, because they're probably the ones that...
Listen, Ian, I know you're working on Lost Hedgehog Tales, and I know that there's weird legal shit with that. Please give us Lost Reploid Tales. I will read it. I will do whatever you need me to do. I'll kill. Who do you need gone? Please.
I know Lost Hedgehog Tales. I'm pretty sure the reason he stopped doing it is because, like, some legal thing with, like, putting the ideas out there when they might reuse them.
Yeah,
Damn.
Well, he said there is legal problems with him releasing stuff, but he is working on getting it resolved, is what he said. So
okay. I thought
it is still going to happen, but he doesn't have a time frame, essentially.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just because he wanted to reuse, like, some of the ideas in IDWs. That's why he decided to stop.
No. But, like, that would make sense, but I don't think that's like exactly what's going on. Anyway, Trevor.
So,
Yeah. Trevor, yeah.
So, do you guys have anything else you want to say on Scrap?
I mean, no, I basically said my whole thing about how I, feel about scrap as a concept. I know you're gonna come in with the butt, but, I've got out everything I want to get out.
I think that scrap is... I don't have an issue with it within, like, the books because of the context of which it was written, but I feel like it is definitely something that should have been kind of discarded when the show started
absolutely.
doing original stuff.
I was just talking about the books. As soon as the TV series started doing its own original takes with it, it became very tasteless very quickly.
It's also, like, the TV show is so removed from the context of the books, and, like, it's still kind of, like, when you look at it from in the context of the world, yeah, that, it makes sense. But if you look at it from the context of us reading it, it is a little bit fucked, like, even still. Like, I don't have an issue with it in terms of it being, like, used in the stories, because I think a lot of really good stories have come that involve the concept of, like, scrap and stuff like that, but it also is, like...
Sometimes it's dumb.
My feelings have grown progressively more mixed over the course of the past, like, 2 or 3 years.
I think it's because it feels like at this point in time, and I mean no offense to any writers officially or unofficially, like official writers or fan writers, it feels like a crutch at this point, because it's like, how do we add tension to a story? Make it about scrap. Oh, why do these characters dislike each other? Oh, one's class replaced the other. Like, that kind of stuff. And it's all like, they were doing this shit as late as fucking Marvelous Machinery.
Yeah.
Marvelous Machinery is...
It is...
without a doubt the story that has the least wiggle room with me being like, yeah, you can do stuff with scrap. Like, you have flying cars. If Sonny can stick around, it doesn't matter.
Just like...
Nothing matters anymore. You have destroyed any fabric of reality the story has had. You can just let the... Why do these trains still worry about being scrapped? You're on the island of fucking Sodor, and the Earl has put a Ferris wheel next to his castle! You live in a fantasy land!
With Sonny specifically, it annoys the fucking shit out of me, because... not just because of all the other insane shit in the story, but, like, his one scene in the first part, and Sonny's Second Chance, which, as much as it's been memed on, rightfully so, I think it is actually a really good episode.
Is that Diesel?
Both of them?
Called Diesel.
Diesel. But, they treat Sonny like he was basically a willing petty thief who's, like, realized what he was doing was wrong and tried to reform. And then they completely throw that all out the window to be edgy and try and create tension by being like, oh, we'll have you on the fucking scrap heap. And it's just like, okay. Yeah,
that bit feels like it came out of a fan story and not,
it does.
Paul Larson and Laura Beaumont.
Okay, so I'm gonna very quickly pitch a potential, like, redone version of that. So, what if it was like a story about Sonny kind of feeling very dependent on Baz and Bernie, I think their names are? It's like, he feels very dependent and very, like, much like he has to do what they say. So when he says he doesn't want to do, like, Thievery anymore, they're like, oh, okay, I guess we'll just leave you here. We'll find someone else to do it. It's like fucking manipulation as like, oh, we can find someone better. We don't need you, but you need us.
Yeah, not the laziest crutch in the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I don't want to undermine your point. I do feel like it kind of works there, just because there's such shit heels that it feels like, Yeah, they do that.
They would
Yeah,
But,
do
like,
that, but also
Yeah,
like
every other time I agree. It's basically just, oh, how can we, how can we score some easy tension points? Threat of scrap.
why is
Doesn't
Hugo
matter if
a
it's out of
threat?
character or not.
yeah, Hugo, fucking season 8. Don and I were talking about it a couple nights ago. There's like 5 or like episodes in it where like they talk about scrap and all of that.
Gordon, Squeak,
And-
Rattle, and Roll is about Gordon accepting the inevitability of his death.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah,
that's probably the
and I
best
mean,
one, but like it is kind of
it-
weird when they do an episode where fucking Percy is worried he's gonna be fucking sent to be like cut up and killed for being late a couple times.
Yeah, like, at some point, I gotta wonder what is these engines' damage at this point? Because, like,
The
They
damage
live in a
is Fat
post-Oliver-
Controller 1.
well, I mean, okay, Fat Controller 1 is a dick, but, like, they live in a post-Oliver world. Surely they know that this is not a concern anymore.
This is the thing, I've actually kind of, like, let's see, we should put a cap in this eventually. I've actually kind of started to agree with you a little bit more on this topic over time, Mari. Because, just like, as of the concept of scrap in general, it's like, I like how it's done in the books. But, you know, you said a few times, even if it's like, it makes sense in the context of when it was written, we're no longer in that context, and like, kind of takes on some
Yeah.
different implications now.
Yeah, and it's
I
one-
will argue this about the context. I totally respect how you feel. It definitely, especially when dieselization comes later. I will argue, though, that even if, actually I probably should be saving this for when we get to Duck and the diesel engine, which is that even if we as kids did not know what the exact context was in that case, we did still know that steam engines and traction engines and stuff like that weren't around anymore at our time period.
Yeah. It's like,
So,
there's multiple...
even if we don't know the specifics, we can still kind of get the idea that this is the overarching story of the latter half of the books is about why there aren't any steam engines anymore.
There are multiple there are multiple facets to the story, but I do definitely feel like kind of looking at it from a more impartial view and not from the view of like, I just really like a lot of these stories. There is a bit of fucked energy to some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the TV series makes that a lot worse.
Oh, it absolutely
by
does, especially with Day of the
virtue
Diesels.
I mean, even in the classic series, because they basically try and dodge around the issue while still having it there. And,
Yeah, so
Yeah,
so-
like, you have season 5 where, like, engine carcasses literally litter the landscape.
Yeah.
And there's multiple... there's a story where Harry and Bert try and commit murder.
It's like...
Yeah,
You know-
at the Sodor Ironworks that really should have no business scrapping engines. Their purpose is to take the scrap and make it into metal.
It's because
They don't do the scrapping part, but it'd be really funny if Ari and Bert signed up for the job thinking that's what they get to do.
I'd love a story. Okay, I know I've mentioned that I'm tired of scrap stories, and I'll probably talk more about that in a bit, but I would fucking love something like that, where, like, they sign up thinking that it's like, oh, we get to fucking brutally murder people for work, this is amazing, then it's like, what the fuck is this? All this stuff is already dead.
You know, and then I'm just imagining that, but with Diesel 10, and he just picks up the corpse of, like, a car and wiggles it around, like, come on! Scream!
Scream or something.
Do something!
You're no fun, dead caucus.
I feel like they chose the smelter's yard just because it's, like, darker and edgier seeming.
Yeah.
It's more cinematic,
That was definitely,
I
like,
guess.
Yeah, that was definitely, like, kind of the thing of... We all know Season 5 was very much David trying to make the series seem as cinematic as possible so they could get a movie.
He was literally told
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
The movie deal was riding on his ability to do that, and I mean, he succeeded. But at what cost? Trick question, the cost is Thomas and the Magic Railroad.
Yeah.
Where they used exactly none of that.
I think, like, the only time that the TV series actually did an original story featuring Scrap that wasn't like insanely morbid was Rusty to the Rescue, actually. Because there's like the one shot of like the Thomas, but like it's essentially just like, oh, Stepney's all alone by himself, and Rusty's like, hey, you want to come look at some flowers? And he's like, fuck yeah. And then they go over a bridge, and that's pretty much it.
I don't know. I very much disagree with the way TV series Escape and, to a lesser extent, Rusty to the Rescue, present those scrapyards as being on Sodor, because that makes the Fat Controller complacent in, the end of Steam.
Yeah. Well, my understanding as a kid was always that the bridge that they go over is the bridge to the mainland, which doesn't make much sense considering there's houses underneath it, but I was also 5, so...
They also kind of say as they're going over the bridge, like, oh, we're back on our own railway now.
Yeah, it's better there because they make it the other railway, but, like, Escape has no excuse when it's the faraway part of the island. Like, that's still the Fat Controller's turf.
Yeah.
Why is Oliver a scrap engine there?
That was I feel like Rusty to the Rescue, they probably realized that was a bad idea, because it came after, but this was also, like, deep in the middle of, like, trying to distance Sodar from the real world, which is its own issue that, ironically, we heard shit about today, considering the fucking Hit Arrow was considering making the mainland Asia, which would have been funny.
That for anybody who's not like active on Twitter or whatever, there was like a thing that came out of they were going to do a model series
Simon
special
Spencer
after the Great Discovery, where Thomas gets on a boat and he ends up stuck on the mainland, and the mainland is like vaguely Asian.
So that was probably where Hero was gonna be introduced.
Basically, it was a very early rough draft of what eventually became both Hero of the Rails and Misty Island Rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they took the weird racism undertones and put that into Day of the Diesels.
Yeah.
And Hero
I think we kind of dodged a bullet there.
Yeah. And Misty Island Rescue, too.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
One last thing I just want to say on the topic of scrap is that I think there definitely is a place for it. It makes sense, and like what would machines fear? Because humans all fear death. Well, they would all fear growing old and dying. It's like engines would fear growing old and no longer being able to work and being scrapped instead of dying, because physically they can't die, I guess, unless like super
we could shoot them. We could shoot Thomas.
We don't know if that would kill him, is the thing.
Yeah, because Thomas has never canonically had to be shot with a gun.
Yeah. You don't know that.
And like even like Godred's fall down the hill, apparently he was conscious afterwards, according to the story.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he didn't die. Like, that didn't kill him. The railway killed him.
So it's like, I get why it's here. I get the intrigue in the idea. But honestly, I'm just kind of tired of it. Like, I respect
it is a very
the
overplayed
interest in it.
Trope.
Yeah.
It feels like it's so overplayed. It's like, we're what, in the 8th book right now? 9th? And this has
book 9. Book number 9.
Yeah, and this hasn't even been mentioned before, and I don't think it becomes really relevant again until Diesel, maybe.
And that's like what, book 14?
Yeah, and like this isn't the only thing the series can be, and it's like those stories always get popular and all of that, but like it feels like a crutch a lot of the time, and like one I'm guilty of myself. I've written a lot of fan stuff I may use, I may not, I don't know, but a lot of the stuff I know I don't really ever want to use is stuff that it's like stories about modernization and engines potentially getting scrapped and all of that, and it's like, again, not an insult to anyone that enjoys that stuff, but it's just like it's overplayed. Like, it feels really overplayed, and I fucking mention it a lot. I think I have on this podcast before. There's a reason fucking Victor Danzig, for all of his stupidity and all of the dumb shit, there's a reason people talk about his stuff so much. And it's because there's something it's way more memorable when a fucking evolved Neanderthal punches Skarloey to death than the 100th story about Scrap. Like, I've seen stuff that is genuinely really well written and done and popular, and I see the appeal about...
The Modernization Trilogy.
Yeah, not... I'm talking about other stuff I've watched that I didn't finish, because I just was bored, frankly. But, like, it's still really good. I get the appeal. All of that, but I didn't finish it. But I've watched all 5 episodes of fucking SCPs of Sodar, and they're all shit. Like, that series is fucking dumb. The cinematography is dumb. A lot of the concepts are really, really stupid.
Boko is the reincarnation of a dead guy.
Boko is an isekai. But
Boko's real name is Bobby Cooper.
It's fucking memorable shit. Like, you know, I don't think another series has done the engines are fucking isekais. And, like, I'm kinda here for it. Like, if you're gonna do shit at this point, do something unique. Do something crazy.
Yeah. Do something unique and crazy, like The Token, or Long Live the Iron Horse.
Everybody go listen to them, they're very good.
There's good ways to do crazy shit, too. We were talking about, the Iron Horse before
you know,
this,
if you want to see crazy shit, but you want it to be good, listen to those. If you want to see crazy shit and don't have standards, watch Stories of Soda.
Yeah, but I guess that's a better example of what I'm talking about, because, like, the fucking horses being able to talk and getting into rivalries with Renius and Skarloey is, like, I feel like that's the kind of concept most people would be like, that's dumb, that's not realistic. But, like, it's really fucking interesting.
And it's good. Really well done.
Lemmy's an amazing writer. So it's really good. And, like...
Or, for example, another example from Lemmy, Salty is actually a train pirate.
Yeah!
I've seen that.
Salty had to fake his own death to escape the train mafia.
Yeah.
Cranky nearly gets fucking assassinated at one point.
Yeah.
I don't know if you notice about me, Salty, but I don't float.
It's really good. He's actually the perfect example, because it's like, I feel like especially now there's been a kind of, well, you have to follow the lore. You have to follow what's realistic and blah,
the lore
blah, blah.
Is the lore, and we can't change it.
Yeah. But it's like, even Audrey kind of built on his own ideas. It's the sort of thing where it's like, I feel like people would criticize, like, oh, why did Lost Treasure bring in pirates? And, like, what, there's, like, underground pirate caves? That's so dumb. Why would that be on Sodar? But, like, because it's in the lore book, we don't question it. Yeah, I don't know. That's my ramble for this. I'm sorry if Andrew...
No, Mari, you made some very good points. You made some good points, and I think that you need to stop, like, stop feeling the need to, like, preface all your opinions, because your opinions have value.
No, I just mean because I've gone on for, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, there's not much else
that is true. You have gone on for 10 minutes, but, like, look, they're listening to Railway Series Book Club. They know we're gonna waste their time. Not to say what you're saying is a waste of time, but...
No, I get what you mean.
I don't think we've had a single, like, I think we've had one episode that was less than an hour.
I think 2. Maybe 2. We had... Edward's Day Out was pretty short, and then I think one of the Henry ones was
it was specifically,
too.
It was fucking, like, Gordon's Whistle, which was somehow shorter than fucking the Percy scarf one that I don't remember the book name of.
I think it was because in Scar for Percy we had. I called it the fucking TV version too.
Well, yeah, because the TV series original story.
Yeah, no, it's because we had the TV series version to talk about, whereas Gordon's Whistle, it was the second half of Whistles and Sneezes, which is like a minute, or the first half of Whistles and Sneezes, which is like a minute long.
Yeah. I mean, I at least had fun because I really like that story. But, like,
oh yeah, it was fun to talk about. I think it was probably the best one in that book. Like, not our episodes, but like the story.
What a shame, said Edward. My driver says I only need some paint, brasso and oil, and I'll be good as new, Trevor went on sadly. But it's no good. My master doesn't want me. Suppose it's because I'm old-fashioned. Edward snorted indignantly. People say I'm old-fashioned, but I don't care. The Fat Controller says I'm a useful engine. My driver says I'm useful too, replied Trevor. I sometimes fall ill, but I don't give up like these tractors. I struggle on and finish the job. I've never broken down in my life, he ended proudly.
So apparently Trevor has beef with Terrence.
What if that's the unspoken law is that Terrence is doing Trevor's job now?
Oh god, that'd be depressing.
They did have him at McColl's farm in the TV series, and then they brought back they brought back Terrence, and then he was there instead.
Damn.
Turns out this whole time that was Railway Series accurate.
Yeah, Trevor is so sad. I mean, rightfully so, considering he's about to die, but, you know.
His nose looks like a sheep ghost.
Oh god, it does.
It's because I had it, like, blown up on the fucking video.
Somebody draw an Among Us visor over his nose.
Yeah, my first thought was an Among Us, but then it was like, no, it has
oh my god,
dots.
it does look like a fucking Among Us. I hate this.
So then it was like, oh, it looks like it looks like the fucking shopping list ghost from SpongeBob.
So something I feel like I could have mentioned on the first page but didn't, is that the TV series does a lot of, like, weird and different aesthetic things to Trevor.
Oh yeah.
Like, first of all, they just coat him in shit at the scrapyard. Presumably because the model people didn't get the memo that he's supposed to be in good condition in the scrapyard. Like, all he needs is a bit of a polish to be good as new. But, you know,
looks
apparently,
like hell.
yeah, he looks like he's coated in shit, and they do the same thing to Oliver and Toad in Escape. So, like, I don't know. They also change his livery. And I think it's because, according to someone on the TV crew... Yeah, I mean, I like Black Trevor. I think Black Trevor's fine, but, like, apparently, according to someone on the crew, this is more prototypical for a traction engine like Trevor. Not that it makes any sense that being prototypical matters to the TV crew, but, like, it is definitely a better livery than the original, and I'm glad they retcon it onto Trevor and Chris's work, even if the green smoke box is a crime.
I fucking hate the green smoke
but it's
box.
Really... it's so bad. But, you know, it's just really weird how he's an entirely different color in the TV series compared to his illustration.
This is the first time that, like, a notable change like that was made. But it won't be the last.
Yeah, the only other one I can think of... The only other thing I can think of is, like, when they made, as far as the first two seasons, the only other thing I can think of is when they like, just skipped over Blue Henry.
There's also, like, the noticeable lightening of Daisy and Boko.
That is true, and they also give them separate faces as opposed to the ingrained ones.
And this is a lot later down the line, but there is also the Scarlowy guys.
Oh yeah, Scarlowy Railway.
I guess Toby's
like,
side plates, maybe?
Oh yeah, that too.
This is definitely the biggest one, though, because it's a complete...
Yeah, and in almost 100% of those cases, the TV series liveries look better.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Trevor is fine. I will not yield on the Scarlowy Railway engines, just because I feel like it could
I'll
be
make
dune...
you.
Bitch, you want to go?
I do.
I will dominate you, bitch.
I feel like Oh my god. Speaking of dominate, I like that the fucking funny. I
Dominic,
I
have
don't
you seen
get.
Cynthia from Pokemon?
Oh my god.
God.
What I was gonna say is the fucking funny sex joke with Trevor is like, oh, he likes children, and like people like use that way too much. And I'm guessing it's because of George Carlin's delivery of like the "I like children" line at the end. But like,
Yeah,
he's
people are fucking
calling
gross.
his owner my master in this. It's like that. That feels way more overtly.
This is getting way
That
further down the
than
line, but
any of
Caroline does
his-
the same.
Yeah, and it's like, just that, though, is way more, like, it caught me off guard when, like, listening to the narration, because it's like, oh, that's,
Anyway, I'm just
Hmm.
gonna put it out there to everybody, to any children who might still be making that joke. Pedophilia is not a laughing matter. Don't make jokes about it. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Trevor being a massive sub, though, if you wanna run with that.
You
then-
can make Trevor a bottom. I
there's-
don't care.
I'm so sorry for derailing with this.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure,
no.
fuck it. Peg will make
Oh,
phone
no,
calls. Who
oh,
gives a
no.
shit anymore?
You know, I was gonna say something and now I've totally forgotten.
Oh, Jamie, I'm sorry.
I guess with Trevor's livery, I think having him get repaint, like the story starting with him in the black, like very, like it may not be prototypical for a traction engine, but it's like what you kind of expect for like a tractor type thing, unless it's like a fucking like John Deere tractor or something where they're green.
Yeah. Oh my god, is that why they did it? Cause no. Actually no. No, it's not. There's plenty of traction engines in green, but I think it would be very funny to have fucking John Deere.
Jimmy,
Trevor.
I've seen traction engines.
Trevor goes to John Deere heaven. Andrew, throw in a clip of John Deere heaven.
I've seen traction engines in person a few times, and they are incredibly ornately painted.
They are.
Yeah.
Like that's I really like Trevor partially just because traction engines are just so cool.
I said this before, but he's my mum's favorite, so he's kind of like, yeah, he's a pal, kind of by proxy for me.
Yeah.
Trevor is kind of like, honestly, reading this story, he's kind of like the epitome of what would later become like the stock standard Thomas character template, where it's like, oh, he wants to work hard and likes making the kids happy. And, like, I feel like that's, like, 90% of characters in the hit era. But, like, it
Yeah.
works with Trevor, I guess, because, like, there weren't nearly as many at the time. And also, like, he's a traction engine, which inherently makes him stick out, because that's
Yeah.
cool.
It also helps to generate pathos, considering he's, literally on death row right now.
Yeah. So, like, they
As opposed to the others, we don't know what kind of fucking hardships they've gone through. What has Neville been on death row? Molly? Dennis?
Oh, Dennis
think
has
not.
absolutely been on death row.
Can somebody, if anybody
He
who,
deserves to be on death row.
if anybody listening to this is an artist, please, I'm begging you, draw Neville in the electric chair.
What about this chair? You can make that an electric chair. Have either of you seen the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared TV show?
I haven't seen
No,
anything
I
from Don't
haven't
Hug Me, I'm
watched
Scared
any
in
of-
general, actually.
Yeah, me neither.
It's
I'm a
The
pussy. I
one
can't
the
handle
one
horror.
clip I've seen is just the one of the duck with a megaphone just screaming, "Attention freaks, it's me."
all my life I knew I deserved to be dead. Yeah, I completely get not wanting to watch it because of the like gore and stuff. But if it helps, I've been able to watch them, so it's not that bad. It's more surreal
Okay.
than outright gory, outside of like the first one and like one or two episodes of the show. I guess the second one is kind of gory.
I do appreciate it on a puppet making
okay.
on a puppet making angle because I
Yeah,
I like the
anything with
Muppets
puppets
a
is
lot.
good.
Speaking of the Muppets,
These are like if
Christmas time's
Muppets could
coming
kill
up.
each other.
Everybody make sure you do your yearly watch of Muppet Christmas Carol, because if you don't, I'll break into your house and steal your toes.
Do it. She'll do it. I've seen her. It's very scary. Also, getting back to the book. Because it's been an hour, we're on only page 2.
Jesus Christ.
I like Edward showing his support for Trevor.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it. I know, it'd be kind of monstrous if Edward didn't show support for Trevor, because, I mean, again, he's on death row. But, you know, I like that Edward is showing support for him.
He relates.
Yeah. You know, I feel like it could be really easy to be like, oh, what if Edward is helping Trevor? Because Edward thinks he's gonna reach his end soon and wants to give Trevor the help that he doesn't think he'll get or deserve, or something philosophical like that. But,
No, he's
I
just
think
nice.
the more realistic
Case.
explanation is Edward wants to help Trevor because he's nice, and he'll be sentenced to death if he doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like any of the characters would help someone else in this case. Cause, like, yeah, you run into a guy who's like, hey, they're gonna fucking brutally rip me apart in a couple days.
I don't think you're gonna be like, lol, Lamau even, and then leave.
Yeah, like, I
Yeah,
feel like
that's
even,
what fucking. God, it probably. This is reductive. My immediate thought was that's what James would do. I don't know. I don't want to be mean to James. He's my fave.
I feel like James would be the kind of person that, like, if, like, someone brought it up to him that there was someone like that, he would be like, oh, well, it's probably their own fault, like, blah, blah, blah. But, like, if he went by and, like, talked to someone there, like, he would absolutely help.
Yeah.
Like, if he's...
Have you listened to The Token, Mari?
I don't know if I have.
Mari,
It's
legitimately,
it's extremely
legitimately,
good.
I think you'd
It's
really
the
love
best.
The Token.
It's
I
a
need to
really
catch up
good
on
character
Lenny's
study
stuff.
of James.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
Henry and Edward are in there quite substantially, and they're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think anyone with the engines would help in this situation.
Yeah.
I think the only character...
Honestly, I'm hard pressed to think of
The only character I can think of that maybe wouldn't is, like, Book Diesel.
Yeah, Book Diesel would just, like, not care.
Yeah.
CGI Diesel
You know, he'd
would
be like,
definitely
oh,
help.
well, sucks to be you. Yeah, he'd help, but he'd be a tsundere about
He'd
it.
help, and...
It's not because I like you, Baka.
Oh, I missed the CGI series.
Yeah.
What work did you do? Asked Edward kindly. My master would send us from farm to farm. We threshed the corn, hauled logs, sawed timber, and did lots of other work. We made friends at all the farms, and saw 'em every year. The children loved to see us come. They followed us in crowds, and watched us all day long. My driver would sometimes lead them rides. Trevor shut his eyes, remembering. I like children, he said simply. Oh yes, I like children.
Fucking why is the children the one people remember when, like, he's... It's like, oh yeah, my master would have me plow some corn. Everyone loved to see us come.
Oh, no!
So he's into being
I-
demeaned and
you know,
into public exhibitionism.
I feel like on a fundamental level that's better than Trevor being a pedophile, but like...
Oh no, it's insanely cursed still, is the thing. Like, it's
Yeah,
like
it's
fucked
still-
up to joke about, but like...
Yeah, it's, at least,
It's like, if you're gonna make...
I'm not even gonna qualify that.
If you're gonna
I'm just
make
gonna...
the shitty jokes, don't go for the low-hanging fruit. Go, you gotta go higher.
You gotta shoot for the
I'm
fucking
gonna go
clouds.
higher.
Exactly.
I'm pissing on the moon.
So in the TV series, the flashback for Trevor's life story really fascinated when I saw it, because, when I was a kid, it looked like a set from season 3 before I really had a good idea of what the seasons really were. Like, I could kind of tell, looking at the episodes that I had, that there that the seasons existed and that there were kind of like 5 or 6 of them. Because, like, in different episodes, the lighting and sets would change, and the music too. But, like, the set that they used in Save from Scratch looked a lot like a set from Season 3, and they never used it again, which was really weird to me, and I thought that, like, did they film this out of order? Did they film this in Season 3, but put it in Season 2 for some reason? Because I was a dumb kid who didn't know anything.
What's the episode where, like, Trevor pulls Birdie out of the mud?
It's
Really Useful Party.
Edward, Trevor, and the Really Useful Party.
Yeah, it looks exactly like that. I may be remembering wrong, but, like, I swear it looks exactly like that set. And that set is from Season 3, obviously, so I completely get what you mean.
Yeah, I don't even think I had that episode as a kid. I might have been thinking of, like, fucking... I don't know, but it was something.
His
I
nose
get
looks
what you
even
mean
more
now.
like a spooky ghost now.
It really does. I don't have much else to say about this. Actually, I'm looking at the page now. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on our slides, but, you know, the building has CRD on it, which I assume is a cut-off C. Reginald Dalby.
No, it stands for
On
it
the
stands,
shop
it
sign.
stands for cock and roll torture.
Damn.
It's
That's a really
cock
funny
and
joke,
ball
V.
Thank you, I
torture
tried really
without
hard.
The cock and balls. Anyway, I obviously it's the funny fucking YouTube poop line, but like I genuinely find like the last bit like kind of like sweet in a sad way.
No,
like,
he's just
like
like an
Yeah,
old,
like-
just like an
Like, he's about to die and he's reminiscing on the parts of his life that he enjoyed. Like, yeah, he liked making the children happy.
Yeah,
Because he's, you know, because he's a good guy who likes it when people are happy. And he's, you know, he's giving joy to the kiddies.
He's a
Yeah,
little
he's
so
just
he's a
always
little
making
social
their day.
butterfly who likes seeing people smile.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cute. Like it's fittingly sad. It's fittingly bittersweet, I think is the word.
Yeah.
I wanna
Yeah.
use, and I like
Which
that.
also gives additional, like, motivation for Edward and also the reader to be like, oh, I really hope he's okay.
Yeah.
If you're not a freak about it, don't be a freak about it.
Be a freak about
Yeah.
the other parts.
No!
Trevor plows corn.
Let's move on from this.
Okay.
Do you remember when Pornhub
God.
made itself Cornhub for April Fools and so many people
I-
complained that they had to switch back before the day was over?
God.
Anyway.
Am I good to move on?
Yes.
Broken up? What a shame. Broken up? What a shame, clanked Edward as he went back to work. I must help Trevor. I must. He thought of all the people he knew who liked engines. Edward had lots of friends, but strangely none of them had room for a traction engine at home. It's a shame. It's a shame, he hissed as he brought his coaches to the station. Then, beep beep, he whistled. Why didn't I think of him before? Waiting there on the platform was the very person. I like the idea that Edward has lots of friends.
Yeah, I love the wording.
Yeah,
of
Edward,
that.
of course he has lots of friends.
It's cute.
You know, he's Edward. I really wish that we could have seen a montage of Edward asking people to help Trevor. But it's a very funny line where it's like, you know, Edward has lots of friends, but
Yeah.
strangely, none of them have room for a traction engine at home.
I love that.
And the homes I'm imagining are like little suburban homes with tiny
No,
backyards.
see, to me as a kid, that implied that Edward had been to their houses. Like, he had come over for dinner, and he knew they didn't have room.
Oh,
And then,
Glorious.
because of Thomas and the special letter, I thought, oh, so everybody must have tracks to their house except for that one girl, and that's why she wants to see Thomas. That's a shame.
Horrible.
oh.
This is a lot sweeter of a stupid idiot child mistake of mine than the Edward Mad Maxes through crowds.
Yeah.
This is what he
Oh,
does.
God.
This is what he does in condolence. He's a good person. He goes and brings the family's next of kin flowers.
Sorry, I ran over your son.
Yeah. Oh. I also really like that. When Edward talks, it's described as he clanked it. Like, he's insert
Yeah.
clanking hog joke. Like, he's kind of like, saying this through his, like, clanking, if we're, like, looking through the lens of the metaphor, which is what it will now call
And
it.
this is also like, so I made a book club Tumblr account. People are talking about book club on Tumblr now. Go follow us on Tumblr.
Yeah, it's very... I feel a lot of pressure.
In a response to our Birdie Chase episode, Meet Scarlet Deceiver, very, very good writer, love their stuff, mentioned that the reason that Edward can't just hear Bertie is because in that story, he's already worn out and clanking, as is established in Cows. So he's just clanking and fucking wheezing so loud that he can't hear Bertie screaming at him.
Yeah, like, he's just too caught up in the noise he's making. It's so genius. I can't believe I hadn't thought of it. Thank you so much, Joby, for listening to these episodes and giving your commentary on Tumblr. I am honored.
Yeah.
If you also enjoy the show, there's somewhere else you can
Yeah.
join and
Join the
follow.
Discord, everybody.
Oh right, fuck the Discord. The Discord. We keep forgetting to
I'm
plug.
just gonna put it out there, and
It's been more active.
I'm gonna.
It's been more active than usual lately. Probably because we're actually like posting episodes.
Yeah, so
we
I'm
kind of
gonna,
went on hiatus for months.
I'm gonna like put this out there on air. I'm gonna fucking put you all both in a corner. We should really add like a join the Discord to like the opening script. Like,
yeah, we really should.
Yeah. We could add it to the ending.
we could, but I feel like if it's at the
That's something
ending,
that sounds
if you're
serious
listening to
for
the
you.
ending, you probably already know about the Discord.
That is true. I've seen the viewer retention figures on our YouTube channel. It's not good.
I mean, to be fair, they're like hour-long episodes at the least. Usually, it's probably people like coming and
I don't
joining.
blame anybody for not watching these through all the way. I assume it's a very skewed average based on like the percentage of people who click it once, listen for a minute, and go away, and people who listen to it the entire way through creates like a very not very promising looking average statistic. But YouTube loves statistics and throwing it in your face.
Yeah.
YouTube is funny because it's like 20% like still watching like a minute in it is like normal. I don't know
Yeah,
how it judges
it's fucked up.
things, but like
I don't know either, but like if it is really true and we're supposed to take that at face value, what the fuck has happened to people's attention spans that they can't like watch past
It's
a
the
minute?
goddamn phones that those damn millennials are always on.
Oh damn, you're right. We gotta become a boomer podcast now.
Yeah. I hate women.
I genuinely think
I hate women and pronouns.
I genuinely think things get skewed by like people who like click on something and then like click off to something else, or
You know what? That's probably part of it. Yeah.
and it's also, I don't know how it accounts for like people because I know it counts for people like moments where people go back, like that this is an example, of course I have, but there's a fucking video I have where the highest spike, there's two with notable spikes. One is a video about Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune's only like official kiss, and of course the moment where I first show the kiss clip is the most replayed. And then there's another Love Live video where I just threw in a fucking clip from a meme video, and that bit is the most rewatched part. So like it accounts for stuff like that, but I don't know how it accounts for like people watching a like longer video and then having to go do something else and then going back, if that makes sense. Because I think podcasts especially, like that's definitely going to affect how the retention appears, because like
We gotta
amount
get the show up on fucking Spotify or whatever.
Yeah,
honestly, we could probably do that.
we'd have to figure it out, but yeah. Andrew, feel free to cut most of this as we get further
Yeah.
into the weeds of YouTube statistics.
Yeah, you can cut out my stuff about
throwback to when the guy on the fucking Bernstein Bears podcast referenced us.
What?
Did I not tell you about that?
Yeah, no, there was someone on Twitter.
If you did, I forgot.
They referenced us a couple times.
You know, there's a Bernstein Bears podcast where they go through every Bernstein Bears book, and there's one where they go on a train, and he mentions us.
Yeah, he mentioned us in the
Wow.
tweet.
And he also mentioned Mr. Mac in the episode, because I went and I watched it. And in the Bernstein Bears book, there's a fucking conductor called Mr. Mac, and he's like, is that like a reference? Is it like a Thomas character called Mr. Mac? Let me look that up. It's like, huh. And then he spends like 2 or 3 minutes reading the Mr. Mac wiki page.
Wow. Thanks for the shout out, Berenstain Bears podcast. I don't mean to be so apprehensive. I think it's really cool.
Jamie hates the Bernstein Bears.
It's not Berenstein or Berenstain.
Okay.
It's Bloodstain.
I do not. We do a Thomas the Friend podcast. We do not have any kind of moral high ground over the Berenstain Bears.
We could never judge anyone, honestly. Like the
I don't.
Shit they enjoy. Like
the fan base is very.
legal.
The fan base at large is very brave about challenging other people's tastes, considering what we watch.
Yeah,
God, you're a
that's
brony.
always the
That's
funniest
cringe.
shit to me.
Oh god, the fucking bronies are even funnier now that Long Live the Iron Horse is out.
Was one of them named after one of the My Little Pony characters?
Redius fucking kills Twilight Sparkle in a fucking wagon race. Dear Celestia, today the best worst one. Today.
That's fucking like it just cuts to a fucking Dear Princess Celestia and it's fucking Rheneas like begging for forgiveness.
Yeah,
She's fucking confessional booth.
Rheneas in a confessional booth in a church.
Some crimes can never be forgiven, Rheneas.
It's like I don't know. Have you ever seen the fucking Who Shot Mr. Burns episode of The Simpsons?
Yeah.
I've seen Edache's editorial video on how you can figure it out, but I've
there's
never
a
watched
scene.
anything
There's
from
a
The
scene
Simpsons.
where Smithers thinks he's the one who killed Mr. Burns, so he goes into a confessional booth and he says that, and the fucking police chief just pulls down the window holding a gun.
Damn, talk about separation of church and state.
Well, that's all I needed to hear. Wow, these things work great. And then he's in jail.
Wow. Damn.
Yeah, Simpsons was surprisingly progressive on the fucking cops are assholes.
I still think about the joke in the movie, just the, fine, I will put my yard trimmings in a trash compactor. Chief, I think there was a dead body in there. Yeah, I thought that too, until he said yard trimmings. You need to learn to
You gotta
listen,
learn to
Lou.
listen better.
Do we want to move on to the next
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's do it. The Simpsons
cut a
movie's
lot
still
of this out.
hilarious.
God. We're all so crazy.
Like the song from Starlight Express.
I've not seen Starlight Express.
I haven't
feel like
either, I
should.
just like that one song.
Wait, is there a song called
Okay.
You're All So Crazy?
No, there's a song called Crazy.
Oh, okay.
It's good. It's a very catchy song, actually. I found an ancient video from a friend of mine called Danny, which was an AMV of that, but with Thomas and Emily, because it's like kind
Oh
of
my
a love
God.
song.
Random thing, but
Oh,
have you
God.
seen the fucking, someone posted the entirety of the All Aboard Live tour.
Oh,
Oh, that's cool.
okay. Am I good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, but actually, very quick final thought. My mum is friends with the mum of someone who worked on the live tour. I learned that.
Oh, wow.
I learned.
We gotta get them on for an interview.
I learned that, and then I was like, "Oh, does he know what happened to them?" And she's like, "Oh, no, what?" And I showed her the pictures of them in the fucking scrapyard, and then she got really sad. I was like, "Oh no,
Oh no!
At least Percy, Eddie, and Clarabelle are okay.
are they?"
For now.
Yeah, they got bought by some theme park.
Oh, good.
Oh, neat.
Good. Okay, right, let's go. Morning, Charlie. Morning, Sid. Hello, Edward. You look upset. What's the matter, Charlie? He asked the driver. There's a traction engine in the scrapyard, Vicar. It'll be broken up next week, and it's a shame. Jem Cole says he's never drove a better engine. Oh, do save him, sir. You've got room, sir. Yes, Edward, I've got room, laughed the Vicar, but I don't need a traction engine. He'll saw wood and give children rides. Do buy him, sir, please. We'll see, said the Vicar, and climbed into the train. They keep Charlie's name in the show.
Yeah,
And I think that's
like
the
that.
only time where they keep his name.
Oh, yeah. I guess it is, yeah. This illustration's a bit fucked up to me, because Edward looks like he's riding super high, but the coach is riding super low, so it kind of looks like the tender and
he looks like a
things are
fucking
misaligned.
Adventures model.
He does.
Like with how
Yeah.
his like cab is really squashed, but his boiler is really high.
and really big.
Yeah. I like
The
this.
only discernible difference is he has you can make out his dome.
This is absolutely bad faith and kind of more a joke than anything. But the fucking exchange of like, well, he may be dying, but what can he do for me? Is well out of context. I get it. I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
Me,
like,
but it is kind of just it is just kind of funny. It is, like I said, it's absolutely bad faith criticism, but.
Like, to me, it makes sense, because even if he does have the space for it, he doesn't need a traction engine, and they're a huge responsibility, you gotta
take it for
you gotta
walks,
feed them and water them, take it for a walk. Honestly, thinking about it, the story does kind of feel like they're trying to, rehome, a pet cat or dog.
Based on
that's gonna be put down at the pound if they aren't adopted.
Based on what Mari's established earlier, it would make sense to give Trevor a collar.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh god.
You could cut that one. You could cut that one.
No, keep it in. Let her sins be known.
I regret every moment that led me to this point. But yeah,
I'm so glad this is Trevor's only story within the immediate future, because oh my god.
Yeah, this can't become a running gag.
But I feel like, it really does feel like they're trying to rehome a pet, like a dog or a cat that's, gonna be put down at the pound if they won't, except, it's a huge steam-powered machine, and Trevor is definitely more sapient than an animal.
Yeah, no, it's the kind of thing where it's like, I 100%, it works. That was kind of me making a joke that was, kind of on the level of, fucking,
why can the Roadrunner run through the tunnel that the Coyote just painted?
Yeah, no. Now why can he get through it? That's just bad writing.
Boy, I sure hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
But yeah, no.
It's okay, Mari. You're fine.
Why does this movie contain women? I don't like them. Ding.
Scene does not contain a traction engine lap dance. Ding.
Oh no!
I hate this bit so much.
This is entirely your fault.
Let's move on to something better.
Let's
move on to something better. Who the fuck is Jem Cole?
I got him cheap, Jem.
Okay, Trevor basically becomes Trevor the driver, but he's just kind of introduced here without warning, and I we can assume that this is, Trevor's a driver in the past, I guess, based on the way he's being presented here, and the role he takes up later on. But, why are they introducing him just kind of offhand in a line of dialogue like this if he's that important to Trevor? Like, did a page get cut or something?
Where did
I don't
where
know.
did Charlie meet Jem and learn of Trevor before this point?
Yeah. Yeah. There's questions here that are just totally not addressed. But you know what? It's whatever.
For some reason, originally, I thought fucking, Jem Cole and the Vicar were the same person as a kid. I don't know how I did, but...
That's pretty impressive, Mari.
Or, like... I don't know what I thought, actually, never mind. I don't know.
You thought Ghost Train was possessed.
I thought my VHS tape of Percy's ghostly trick was possessed. There's a difference. I didn't think the episode conceptually... Yeah, we should move on. Oh wait, one small thing.
One last thing before we move on, though. I really like that the Vicar knows Edward and his crew by name.
Yeah, I was gonna...
Like, I guess it makes sense for the crew, because they might go to his church, but I like that the Vicar knows Edward by name.
Yeah, I love...
And it makes sense, because Edward has a lot of human friends.
I love how he's immediately like, oh, like, hey guys, and he's like, what's wrong, Edward? Like, it's cute.
Yeah.
I love the implication with this, with Mrs. Kindly, and later on with Mrs. Last in Four Little Engines. I love the implication that on like the quieter lines, the engines know the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
It's really nice.
I hope Edward enjoyed all his dinners with his friends. You know? I hope that they know what he likes. What do you think Edward likes for dinner? Do you think he likes spaghetti?
I hope they forgave him for mowing down their loved ones.
Rip and tear, rip and tear.
Rip and tear until it is done.
Jem Cole came on Sunday afternoon. The Reverend's coming to see you, Trevor. Maybe he'll buy you. Do you think he will? Asked Trevor hopefully. He will when I've lit your fire and cleaned you up, said Jem. When the Vicar and his two boys arrived that evening, Trevor was blowing off steam. He hadn't felt so happy for months. Watch this, Reverend, said Jem, and Trevor chuffered happily about the yard. Oh, Daddy, do buy him, pleaded the boys, jumping up and down in their excitement.
I love this illustration. Trevor looks like a fucking puppy that wants to get pecked. It's cute.
He really does. Also, as whiplash-inducing as his introduction on the last page was, I love the sequence of Jem Cole preparing Trevor and showing him off to the Vicar.
Yeah.
Like, you could really tell that, unlike Trevor's previous owner, Jem really cares a great deal about Trevor.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to guess, Jem was probably, under the employ of the owner, as well. So, Jem is probably also invested in this, because, maybe he'll get a job with the vicarage if, Trevor gets bought by him. And I love how much sway the kids have here. Kids love traction engines. Have you, Mari, have you seen that video of, Flying Scotsman, traveling backwards on a line next to, a school, and a bunch of school kids in, 2022 cheering as it goes past?
It legitimately, it was so... They were out doing, a little trip. They were doing, a little art trip, right? And they didn't know Scotsman was going to be there, so he comes reversing back with, a coach, and everyone just starts cheering. Because everybody loves Flying Scotsman.
Yeah, it really is a magical clip. Because, even, this many years removed from the days of steam locomotives, they still capture the hearts and minds of children everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's magical.
There's always, a ton of kids that, the fandom show. I forget the name. I go there every year. How the fuck do I forget the name? Greenberg? Yeah. And, it's always cute to say. I remember once there was a kid who really liked Edward, and this one stand just had a fucking Hornby Edward tender for some reason. And the kid tried to grab it. And he was just you might want to be careful. It's that thing's heavy. I think they found a fucking take along or something for him, but it was really cute.
Aww.
It's always really cute seeing stuff like that.
I love when like
Yeah.
I love when like older people in a hobby like really embrace the younger ones.
Yeah.
This
Yeah, it's what railfan hobbies are gonna need to do if it wants to survive.
I may have mentioned this at
This
least
is
to like
what
maybe
Thomas
one or two of you
Freeze
not on the
on.
recording, but so I go to a local car boot near me a lot, right? Like I bought a lot of models there, I bought a lot of games there. There's a guy there who sells Airfix kits sometimes. Like he's only been there a few times, but I walked past him once, and there was a young kid, like maybe like 6 or 7, maybe, looking at the kits. And the guy said to the kid, "Oh no, I'm not selling them to you. They're for dedicated like modelers only." And it's like,
Aww.
do you want
Shitty.
That's
like
horrible.
do you want people to keep doing this? Because treating kids like that is gonna ruin their interest.
Yeah, that's the case with like every hobby. I feel like it's especially bad in like modeling circles, but like it's like yeah, like how you get kids into it is like by letting them get into it. Like my fucking early
like
models are
you
fucked,
don't
but-
gatekeep a dying hobby.
Yeah.
It's like, first of
Like
all,
that's how you make it die faster.
like with that one guy. It's like you're selling the kits. What do you give a shit where they go?
He's like the fucking guy selling the giant Garfield plushes who only sees one to quit and review.
It's like, listen, okay. Oh, maybe you don't like Thomas because they got faces and you're always for babies. It's for children. Let the children embrace Thomas, welcome them, and maybe they'll become I hate the term real rail fans, real modelers. Like you
They'll become fans of
you can't gatekeep
IRL
people
railway stuff
from
too.
train sets. Do you know how stupid you sound when you say
Yeah.
you're not a real person to play with train sets because your train has a smiley face? Like, dude, there's a reason you're not getting any pussy. This is that reason. Now I'll try. And the vicar climbed up beside Jem. "Show your paces, Trevor," he said, and drove him about the yard. Then he went into the office and came out smiling. "I've got him cheap, Jem. Cheap." "Did you hear that, Trevor?" cried Jem. "The Reverend saved you, and now you'll live at the vicarage." "Peep, peep," whistled Trevor happily. "Will you drive him home for me, Jem, and take these scallywags with you? They won't want to come in the car when there's a traction engine to ride on." Yeah, that's true.
That bit is really
That is true,
cute.
yeah.
That's a cute
Like-
detail I'm glad they included.
It's so good. Like, hooray, Trevor lives! But also, like, given the choice between traction engine and a car, traction engine sounds way better. They definitely cut it out of the episode just for time, but, like, it's such a good part. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Jamie, only you'll get this. Trevor, the idea of driving Trevor around just in the town gives the same vibe as fucking Laurie driving Humpty around.
Oh, absolutely. God, I fucking love Humpty.
Humpty's so good.
Also, it's a cute.
The best vehicle.
It's a cute, also like kind of full circle moment because like he was talking about earlier how he likes making people, like especially children, happy, and now he gets to do that immediately upon being bought. It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Also, Croc Scrapyard.
Oh yeah, I totally
There's
forgot.
Reg.
That's in the image. Yeah. Crunch and munch! God, can you imagine if Reg was here during this story and was just saying a bunch of morbid things to Trevor, totally oblivious
Listen.
to how he was feeling?
Listen.
Yeah.
Is that not just the plot of The Truth About Toby?
Oh, it absolutely
Which,
is.
speaking of,
but
I
you know,
fucking
Toby's,
adore The Truth
Toby's
About
not
Toby.
actually on death row in that one.
I love The Truth About Toby so much.
It's a fun story. I feel like it's a bit out of character to an extent that all the engines would just, assume that Toby was going to be scrapped and be like, Yeah, that sounds right. Poor old Toby. Like, do they just have zero faith in the Fat Controller?
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. There gets to be a point where it's like, really?
It's like
Really?
it's like the joke in a salty story. It's just, let's be honest. When was the last time I actually sent an engine away?
Yeah.
I think the only one that got the only engines like canonically that have gotten sent away are like Diesel and D199, because fucking Bowler leaves on his own.
And
yeah,
Stuck
Bowler
Up.
leaves on his own. He doesn't get dismissed. He just leaves out of shame. D199 is dismissed. Diesel gets dismissed like 2 or 3 times, and then just ends up staying
And Stuck
at
Up,
a certain
technically.
point.
I thought Stuck Up was just a visitor.
Does Stuck Up even... Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure 261 was also a visitor, but, like, it's not quite clear in the story, so they make him, like, you know, a trial engine in the episode, which, you know, makes sense from an adaptational standpoint.
Listen, I have so
I
many
thought it
things
was
to
a
say
trial
about the
engine
Stepney
as
stories,
well.
but I love the phrasing of how Bowler leaves.
Yeah,
Oh, it's absolutely
really good.
amazing.
He left 2 things behind. A rather nasty smell, and a battered bowler hat.
God, the last 2 stories, like basically as soon as you get out of the exposition portion of Stepney's book, it becomes really
Yeah.
good.
Even then, in the exposition part, I do love some of the character interactions in Bluebells of England.
Yeah.
If you must sing,
You know,
Percy, can you no sing in tune?
Yeah. You know, I feel like a modern hand could definitely word Douglas's words towards Diesel in a much more better and nuanced way, but that's a point. That's an argument for another day.
I just think the idea that Percy is completely fucking tone deaf is really funny.
What?
Mary, do you want to repeat first? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I just said it's...
Well, I could hear what Mari was saying. I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Oh, I didn't hear what Mari was saying.
Oh, okay.
I just said it was very much a book written in the 60s.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying, like, I love the the minor implication that Percy is completely fucking tone deaf.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah.
I think...
Fuck, my series is gonna completely contradict the lore.
I also love the look. How can I look unless I be a corkscrew? Just Percy and Douglas was like a fun dynamic. I wish we'd seen more of that.
Yeah, like, Percy and the Scottish twins in general, I think, is a fun combination, because, like, you've also got, like, the occasional story, like, Percy in the Haunted Mine, where Donald and Douglas are just talking to Percy and be like, oh yeah, that mine's definitely haunted. And then you've got the Deputation, where Percy bargains for their life, even though the Fat Controller has already decided to save them.
I have so many, like, thoughts all positive on the Deputation, but the best part of that book, without a doubt, is Percy. The best part of that story, without a doubt, is Percy. He's so good.
Absolutely.
Just, hello, Percy. It's good to be back. Percy jumped and some trucks went flying. That's such a good. That
book
bit.
Is so good. That whole book is so good. I'm gonna have fun talking about it when we get there, just because, like, I really like all the drama in it. It's delectable.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Trevor's home in the vicarage orchard is close to the railway, and he sees Edward every day. His paint is spotless and his brass shines like gold. He saws firewood in winter, and Jim sometimes borrows him when a tractor fails. Trevor likes doing his old jobs, but his happiest day is the church fete. Then, with a long wooden seat bolted to his bunker, he chuffers about the orchard giving rise to children. Long afterwards, you will see him shut his eyes, remembering. "Oh, Lord, children," he whispers happily.
I don't really have much to say here, other than that I love that Edward and the Vicar managed to snatch Trevor from the jaws of tragedy and grant him such a whimsical, happy ending. Like, he may not be working as hard as he was before, but he's surrounded by people who care about his well-being, and he gets to make people happy.
Yeah.
Which is great.
I do have a small bit of...
He gets a nice retirement.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of thing. They're flying the British flag here, which is
Oh, I hadn't even noticed before.
which is interesting because I think we all know the classic Sudrian "fuck the English." They're not a fan of the English. We've learned. So that is an
Yeah.
interesting implication that like maybe this was before the idea of Sodor, of like the region as it's called at this point, even being on an island had been solidified.
Yeah, I think the first Sodor map came out in like 1955, maybe.
When was that? What book was that?
That was like Duck in the Diesel Engine, I think.
Yeah, that would track.
It was like sometime around like, yeah,
The island
That's interesting.
of Sodor.
yeah. But yeah, you know, I like the ending. I like the tiny little Edward in the background.
Oh
Yeah.
shit! Aw.
There he is. He's
I
saying
love
that
how
to
you
his
see
pal.
him in the background of the last not the last image, the 2 pages back, the one where Trevor looks like a puppy waiting to get picked. Like you see Edward in the background, kind of like looking on, like it's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a random thought. Do you think Trevor knows that Edward is the reason that the vicar came by? Or do you think that's something that
I
Edward
would
kept to
assume
himself?
so.
I don't know if Edward would have, like, said it particularly, but I think Trevor could pretty easily put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. Yeah, especially that Edward's like there watching when it's happening.
Yeah.
I like this book.
Yeah.
This-
I could definitely see like sorry to cut you off, but
No, go ahead.
I could definitely see like Trevor's like, oh, like thanks for like thanks Edward, and Edward's like, oh no, I didn't say anything. And he's just like, yeah, okay. It's like-
I know what you did, Edward.
Why are you goofy?
I know what you did last summer, Edward.
Well, he kind of sounds like Goofy in the US version. I can't fucking describe it well.
Gorsh, Edward. Isn't
Oh,
that
God, I
the
just
door
remembered.
to darkness?
Remember when they fucking put Trevor in the Merlin episode for some reason?
I
Gorsh.
And gave him Vinny's whistle?
So you want to play tug
look
of
proof
war,
that he's
huh?
a cowboy.
The Great Race is fun.
God. It's a fun movie. I don't know if I call it, like, good, but it's definitely fun.
It's not very good, but it's very fun. And
The
I
music in it
feel
fucking
like
slaps.
to a degree, that's all it needs.
Oh, yeah.
to
The
be.
music is the best part.
Also,
we go on to
Floyd
rankings?
Skoitzman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do ranking.
Yeah, let's go on to rankings, yeah. So, I like the story. You know, it's the first of its kind in that it kind of starts, like, exploring the end of the, you know, machine life cycle and, like, kind of addressing that scrap exists in the universe. But it's not necessarily concerned with that. Like, it's kind of just a framing device for the story. It's more concerned with just helping Trevor. And I don't know, I don't really have much to say other than it's nice. I think, because I'm feeling good about it, I'll give it a Toby. It's probably the weakest story in the book, but that's more just because everything else around it is so good.
I'm so excited for next
if
episode.
that makes sense. Oh, next episode's gonna be great.
Yeah, I honestly completely agree on that. The scrap bit really is more of like a framing device for like Edward finding Trevor a really nice retirement plan.
Yeah.
Edward's his lawyer.
It's cute. I like it. There is to a degree for me the thing of like I feel like I've seen this kind of story a ton of times before, but that's also because
That's because they're copying this.
yeah. So like it isn't really fair for me to mark this down for that. So I did give it a Percy. It's cute. I like it.
Can I give it a Tercy? Like a 6.5?
Which one are you leaning towards?
I'll be generous and do Toby because I like this one. It's not particularly in depth, but Trevor's fun. I like the continued name dropping of Sid and Charlie. That's nice.
Yeah.
It very much continues the kind of what we were saying last episode, where most of this book's stories don't have a lot of substance. Like, they're not super in depth. Like, they're not like, they're not uninteresting, but they're not particularly deep. But they're a lot of fun.
They're kind of like what you see is what you
Just
get.
a guy who loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
They feel similar to like what we would eventually get in the arc seasons with Thomas's branch line, and that's not a bad thing. I like that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Very smaller slice of life stories, and like that's a nice like vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also the only story in this kind of collection that kind of feels like this is the most about Edward.
Yeah.
Like, Trevor kind of pulls focus because he's the new character that they introduce in it. But the story is very much Edward does a thing to save this guy.
Yeah.
And that's neat.
Edward's biggest role being like finding a way to help someone, even if it's not like the most. Well, no, because it is him helping, but like I don't know how to word this, but like he's not necessarily like doing some like big like, oh, I'm gonna take you out of here, and then we're gonna like,
there's no
the
daring
evidence and all
rescue.
that.
He's not
it's just
breaking
Edward
Trevor
finding a way to
out.
help
He's helping
someone,
him.
and like that's nice. Like I think it kind of fits Edward. Like he's the kind of guy that like I think that's a good characterization for him of like, because the fandom kind of likes to portray him as literally like engine Jesus, when it's like
Edward, I very much resent, across the board, I resent the trend of it, very much dude bro trend of like characterizing the old cool engines like, oh, they're the ultra Chad.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck. They're chaotic neutral badasses. No, they're not. They're so much more layered than that. They're cool, yeah, but like that's reductive.
I think like I think it was in a character gallery episode that Lemmy kind of described it, where like Edward's the kind of one that it's like if like say like an engine like Thomas or something went up and it was like, oh, I'm getting like bullied in like school, not school, but like said, like
at Train Academy,
me at Train Central.
He's like the kind of parent that like if the kid is getting like bullied in school or something, they're not gonna like go beat up the fucking bullies or like say like, okay, you gotta like fucking swing at them if they like do it. He'd be like the kind of parent that would just like go to like the fucking teacher and would be like, hey, do something about this. I feel like that's kind of the story summed up, and it works. Like I don't know how to word it well, but I like it.
Edward,
I get what you mean.
This is the thing. A lot of the other characters in situations like this would solve the problem, like physically. Edward solves the problem with his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Edward is very clever, and I think this is a good
Edward's clever. He helped him save Trevor.
Yeah.
He also has a lot of connections and stuff too, because he's just friends with a lot of people, which is something that comes in here.
I like it. I know you're not really active on like Thomas Tumblr, are you? You don't really follow anyone over there.
Nah, I only follow like 10 accounts in general though.
Okay, so there's a really good post on Tumblr about how Edward is like so like interwoven with Sudrian culture that he knows things that no other like living being does. and he's just been holding like these ancient secrets from like over a century ago on the island, and he can, if you ask him, break them out. He just usually doesn't. And I think that's a
I
really
love
fun
that.
little
Yeah,
trait.
that's a wonderful gem by Mean Scarlet Deceiver.
I like that a lot. That honestly fits like the engines, and especially someone like Edward, who's just been around for a long time, and like it's has like a lot of stuff where like no one, for lack of a better word, living would probably remember, but like
He was
it's
there.
committed to memory for him. He was
Yeah.
there, and like he has no reason to bring it up, but like if it comes up, like he would, and like people would be like, "Wait, what the fuck? You like know that?" And he's like, "Yeah."
There's like one of
Yeah.
the
Edward
the three bits I remember.
Edward knows where all the bodies
The
are
three bits I
buried.
remember is he accidentally ruins the political career of like the descendant of somebody who did something really fucked in Sudbury that he heard about because he just offhandedly
No,
mentioned
it wasn't that okay. That person did not do something fucked up. It was that that politician had like an affair with like a crossdresser who looked a lot like someone's wife.
Oh.
Which, not fucked up, but the Fact Controller did have to school Edward after the fact on human concepts like, homophobia and whatnot.
There was also
did still have an affair, and that didn't really go well for Bill Clinton either.
there's also the thing of the Fat Controller's going through the records and he finds like 2 separate like purchase orders for Thomas. And he goes over to Edward just, okay, which one of these is real? Neither of them, sir. Am I gonna want to drink for this? Sir, I'm a locomotive. I don't know anything about what would drive a person to drink. But yes.
Maybe that's something we could do with the book club Tumblr, is just reblog all the posts we reference on this show.
Yeah.
I would do that. I would do that, and that would also
I've
give
had
Mari
people
incentive to
ask-
read them.
Yeah.
I also I've had people ask for like links to Don's stories and stuff, so I could like, if we mention like specific ones, like send the link to something like
Send it in.
Yeah, we could like include we could include a link on like the Twitter or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do like a master like reblog
All the shit
slash
we've
post that's,
referenced.
like, here's everything we've
Yeah.
referenced. Except the Victor Tanzing episode.
Yeah, we are not cruel enough to direct you to Victor Tanzig. Well, on that note, next time on the Rally Series Book Club, we're going to be talking about the final story in Edward the Blue Engine,
And the best story in it
also
with the
known
Blue
as
Engine.
Old Iron. Yeah, it's really good. I'm very excited to be talking about it, because Old Iron is really, really good. I have fond memories of it. I should not be elaborating on it now. Should save that for the next episode.
I don't know how it was decided, but it was literally included on what I'm pretty sure is the series' first, like, best of collection, because that's what 10 Years of Thomas was. I forget how they got.
Well, I mean, yeah,
And it
it
deserves
is
it.
the best of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
So yeah, we'll see y'all next time.
Follow the Twitter, follow the Tumblr, join the Discord, give me your credit card details.
Yeah. Yeah. I have been Jamie.
No, you haven't.
Oh.